This is a quick performance installation video for K10780, which is a AC bracket going onto an LS truck engine or LS Camaro 2010 and later for the Sanden Mini compressor. This high and tight bracket is going to mount the compressor right here, and it's designed to work with either the truck water pump, this is the later truck water pump, but the other one with the straight up neck works as well, or the 2010 and later Camaro water pump. For the truck application, we're going to install all three bolts into the cylinder head here where shown. For the 2010 and later Camaro water pump, we're going to use the top two head bolts, but then we are going to attach to the water pump tensioner boss here because this bolt gets obscured by the housing. We're going to go through the installation on the truck side, but we will highlight the points where it's different as we go along. We have the back plate here we're going to build off of. We're going to take our 70mm bolt, put it in the middle there, and then we have an 1 7/8" spacer right here on the cylinder head. We're just going to get this screwed down, but leave it finger tight so that we can get the other bolts in. All right, we're going to do a little bit of pre-assembly here. If you're doing this with the truck water pump, we're going to use a 140mm here, 100mm here, and then another 140 in the very bottom hole here. Flip those over. These both get 2 5/8 inch. 1 inch outside diameter and then 3/4 inch outside diameter going all the way from the plate to the head. Now we're ready to attach this to the cylinder block. If you're doing this with the 2010 Camaro water pump, we'll take our 140mm bolt here, 100mm here, and then down here we have a 40mm bolt that goes in the second up right there. Flip those over. We got our 2 5/8 there, and then you'll have to figure out whether you have Gates or a genuine GM, and you'll choose between these two here, and that will go on that bolt right there. Now we're ready to install it here. We'll just gently get it into the bolts there, come into the bottom, and get it started since it's actually going to the cylinder head there. We'll slide that through. I'm going to go ahead and engage that for a second. Grab my 10mm nut for the back here, throw that on the ground, get my 10mm nut here, get that on, that'll hold it. We don't want it too tight, so this is still loose or whatever. We're going to take another 1 7/8 tube up here on the top, get that in there like that, and then we're going to take everything down to just finger tight. We want it to still be loose, but we'll go through a torque sequence here in just a minute, and we want to make sure that there is no binding. Ready to install it here on the Camaro, and we're going to do something very similar, but down here we're going to actually attach to the water pump boss, like I said in an early step. Now, there are two separate tubes that can go down here. One is a 3/4 inch outside diameter. That's for the genuine GM. So if you have a pull-out engine or you bought a genuine GM pump, that's where that's going to go with the 3/4. If you have the Gates, use the 1 inch outside diameter. There's just a little bit of variation of where they're landing these bosses, and we want you to have the best fit possible. Up here, we're going to use another 1 7/8 tube to go into the head. We'll capture the back side of this right here with just a flange nut. We're going to take all this down, but leave it loose. We don't want any binding. We'll do torque in a later step. Before we install the compressor, we're going to take our 2 5/8 spacer and our last 140mm bolt and just install it like that. This is actually where the tensioner is going to go later, but this is easier to install now before you do the compressor. We're ready to install the Sanden Mini compressor. I want to draw your attention to this little bushing here. It is a friction fit, so it will not move very much on its own. Do want to make sure that it's pretty flush right now, but in a later step we'll actually see where it's mating to the plate, and we might have you tap on that just a little bit. I like to start at the bottom bolt here and get it going. If I can find the angle, there we go. And then it just swings up, holds the weight of that while you put this one in here. We're going to go ahead and tighten these down to where it's pretty tight, not torqued. That way we can take a look at the back bolt and bushing. We'll do that right now. We've gotten the bolts on the front of the compressor tightened up If you take a look right here, you can either shine a light in there or get your feeler gauge out. What we want is a nice snug fit. Do not overdrive this. That will actually cause just as much misalignment issues. We want to make sure that there's no interference there. It's an oversized hole, so that won't be an issue. And then get your bolt in. We're ready to move on to the next step. We're going to tighten up the bolts here and then go through a torque sequence. We want to get the two that are going into the cylinder head first, and then this one on the truck version goes into the cylinder head. This one here on the Camaro version is going to go into the water pump boss. So we'll do these two first, and then either one of those next. Now these are, so we're going to lift up on the compressor just a little bit. I think you saw me do that. At this point, it's actually, I keep trying to tighten that one. At this point, it is held in place. What we wanted to do is take all the slack out in the same direction. Once again, binding is the thing that we're trying to avoid all the time. All right, I'll get the torque wrench and we'll go through a torque sequence. All right, we're going to start our torque process here. 10 millimeter bolts, we're going to be using 37 foot-pounds of torque. The first thing that we want to do is tighten up the cylinder head. So we're going to lift up on the compressor, take all the torque out in the same direction. Get that one down there, and then we're actually going to jump around here on the back. The back plate has one going into the cylinder head. Want to get that one here second. That way everything is getting squared to the cylinder head. We'll drop down here now. This one on the truck is going through a singular tube all the way to the cylinder head, or on the 2010 Camaro, you'll have a bolt here going to the water pump boss, just like that. Very good. Now we're ready to grab our wrench right here. Come around to the back side, grab the nut on this one. It's a little bit tight, but it's doable for sure. And get that one 37 foot-pounds. Then we'll jump up here and get the compressor. So for the back here, I left that loose intentionally, and we want to make sure that it's not, gone one way or the other. Like I said, we oversized it. Should not be an issue, and we'll just get in here and we'll bring that down to 15 foot-pounds as well. We're ready to install our tensioner. We'll take out our 140 millimeter and place it in here. There's a little notch here that's going to line up with this notch here. Just slide that in like so. Capture it on the back with our 10 millimeter flange nut. 10 millimeter bolt, we'll torque that down to 37 foot-pounds. We got our belt installed here. We do a great job in the installation instructions of calling out a belt length for you, depending on if you have the high and tight alt power steering from Kwik Performance, or you have the factory GM with the idler over here, or if you're running the 2010 Camaro over here. There's several different variations, and we call out a belt length for each one. And while we do a good job, there is some variation in the belt, and as the engine runs as well, it's going to stretch a little bit, seat down into those grooves, all effectively making it longer, which even though we call out a belt, I want you to take a look at the tensioner here. We'll do that right now. This Dayco tensioner here has maximum and minimum stops. So as it goes through its range, this acts as almost the center line here. It's a bar design. And so we want one that's a little bit on the tighter side like this one is here. So as that belt stretches or takes a seat, we'll still be in a good operating range. So once again, put the belt on, take a look at this first, maybe turn over the engine, allow it to seat down. We want a little bit of a tighter belt, but not maxed out. Thank you for watching this Kwik Performance installation video. If you have any questions about your install, please give us a call or shoot us an email. We do want to help you. And if you have any pictures of your install, if you'd send those as well, we'd love to share those on social media or our website. Thanks.